Good day. Today it's October 25th, 2018, and I got my presidential hat, the original presidential hat. Now that's the unincorporated presidential hat, and I'm going to try to make the shortest video ever explaining the Federal Reserve System, or any central banking system that's based on debt, based on borrowed money, based on borrowed money that has interest attached to it. Say, for instance, a central bank lends the United States $10 and says, "This is the $10, I want you to pay me back $11. That's impossible to do if they've only lent you $10. And if you do pay them that $1 interest, you've got $9, which makes you even more shortage. So you have to borrow from that central bank again, in this case the Federal Reserve, in order to make up that 10 to the $9. So you're always getting in the hole as you attempt to pay it back. So that's why I'm saying it's virtually impossible to pay the national debt without digging yourself into the hole. Now, the reason it works so long, as long as it does, is because the central bankers pass a little bit of that money, that extra money they're making, down to their underlings, their minions that are working for them. And the higher you get up in those minions, it's like the pyramid, the higher you get up in that pyramid, the more money you make, but it's all debt money. And these guys don't have to pay that back. It's all on the bottom, the people on the bottom, the peons on the bottom that are responsible for that debt, because they're foolishly enough not to make any issue over it. Back in 1913, some people attempted to make an issue of it. There was some big people that were making an issue of it, but gee whiz, they ended up on the Titanic or the Olympic at the bottom of the ocean. Just so happened to happen that way, Anyway, the presidents, if you look at all the assassinated presidents in the history, if you look far enough, there'll be something to do with they were making an issue of the banking system. And then, just some lone gunman comes along and pops them, and they're ended. Just gee whiz, there's always that lone gunman that's just ready to help out those central bankers and get everything back on the central bank path. Now, my brother, who actually works for a city government, gee whiz, says that yes, we can pay back the bank, the national debt. Yeah, if you really make that your number one priority, and you give up all this and you do all this hardship, and you could theoretically pay back that national debt. However, why pay it back when it's a Ponzi scheme in the first place? You cannot come out ahead for that 2 paying back 11 of whatever, whether it's coconuts, oil, barrel of oil, or 1 billion barrels of oil, or $1 billion. It's the same thing. It's the same mathematic percentage. It cannot be done. Now, it's a Ponzi scheme. What's his name from New York City that got put in jail for the Ponzi scheme? Madoff. Barney Madoff. He just had a smaller Ponzi scheme on a smaller level than what the central bank has going. And he made the mistake of getting some of those people up in that pyramid, up high enough in that pyramid to scam on them, which is a no-no. You're not supposed to get the elite. You're not supposed to. So he ended up to jail. But as I'm saying, a lot of people should end up in jail. A lot of persons up in that pyramid top should end up in jail. But as long as you're part of the incorporated system, you are responsible for that debt. So most of the people out there, most of the persons out there are responsible for the national debt. Unless they start saying, hey, something's not right here. And if enough people would do that, fraud is fraud. It would be a contract that is established under fraud is not a contract. It's not binding. So what we'd have to do is have declare a short banking holiday, start a new money system, and it would be what do the religionists call it? A forgiveness of the debts. Can't think of the word now. Anyway, we would start a new day under another banking system, which was based on assets, which is what it was supposed to be done in the first place. Now, see, if I not borrow, but use my assets, my labor, or some of the minerals that are in this land, or some of the products I've made from this land as an asset, and lend that, put that up as a backing for, say, some construction material to build a house, that is borrowing but that's borrowing between two people, and it's not borrowing something that's in the air. It's borrowing an asset, something that's real. And if I didn't pay that back, whoever I made that deal with for that material to build the house would own it. But that's not the same thing that you've got with the entire money, the currency system. There's a difference there. And you can read some of my stuff or somebody else's that's saying the same thing. But I'm trying to give you a real simple explanation of national debt, banking, and all this. That's why a country or a territory, well, let's say the colonies before the United States was formed, they had all these raw materials and these products. They were growing cotton, they were growing tobacco, they were shipping and trading. See, read my video on watch my video on trading. You're trading something for something else, something that's real. You can deal with that. But when it's some figures made up by some central bankers or a bank, it doesn't work, as I've just said. It's the same with housing, with a mortgage on a house. When you sign that mortgage, you're using that house that's already built to back it up, and the bank puts that on their ledger and then lends you money against that house. So they're just lending you, something that you could have done between two parties instead of that third party, the banker. And then what happens if you can't pay for it, and you've paid 20 years towards that, maybe, and have it 50 or 60 or 70% paid off on that house? You lose the entire house. So, let's see, that's not almost 10 minutes. Yeah. Hopefully you got something out of this one. Bye.